So here's the string copy mechanics. It's going to overwrite data no matter what. It's also going to always start at index 0 and start going from left to right to place in those values. That shouldn't be too big of a surprise. Now, here's the interesting part, and I'll go over this a little bit more with some of your exercises. I'm going to do number 1 with you, and then you're going to do number 2 and then number 3. So just heads up. On number 1, I have 2 strings. Both sizes are exactly the same. There's string 1 and then string 2. Lupoli is in string number 1. So what does that look like? That'll look like the previous one. We have Lupoli and then backslash 0. Now, the backslash 0 in this case is, again, just marking the end of it. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have string 2, this crazy class. Nothing crazy about that. That's showing up right now. And again, that crazy class with the 2 exclamation points and then the backslash 0 should show up. So they all should be there. I'm going to now string copy all of string number 2 into string number 1. So it's going to overwrite that Lupoli that was originally there. It's going to overwrite all of those letters and then go ahead and put exactly what we had in string number 2 after that. So this is what it's going to look like after our string copy. Now, pretend for a moment that I actually had just this, the word this, for our second one. How will we string copy that? Well, like normal. It would overwrite Lupoli, but you know what? Only partially. And if you can believe this, and this is showing up right now, I'd actually end up having 2 backslash zeros in there because one was the original Lupoli, and now we overwrite it with the word this. So actually it could have 2 backslash zeros. I could actually have multiples in there. But again, which one are we going to worry about? We're going to worry about the first one that's closest to the left, or we're going from left to right. Which one do we hit first? That's what we're going to end with and stop there. So keep that in the back of your mind as you go ahead and do examples number 2 and number 3. And again, make sure you answer both the questions number 2 and 3, and we'll go over that here in a moment. In example number 2, it's very similar to what I just kind of went over here, just giving you a heads up. So the original string was much larger. The second string was much shorter. So what you're going to have is before the string copy, there's this crazy class, the backslash 0. And then with string number 2 being copied in there, Lupoli backslash 0 is going to supersede and be overwritten this crazy class. But notice the rest of the data that's in there, it's still there. It's actually being reused for something else. So there can be garbage in there. But again, that backslash 0 is so important because it tells us, hey, there might be other crap that's behind there, but we ignore it. This is our current string that we're using. So notice that backslash 0 is really important, really, really important. So which backslash 0 will we stop at? The first one or closest to index 0. Now, number 3, what's wrong with the code below? So we have a string of 4 characters of N, showing up here, no big problem. Then we try to string copy David into that spot. That's a problem. We don't even have enough room for David. We only have 4 spots, and really it's not even 4 spots, it's 3 spots because I need that backslash 0. So this would be a problem. It may not crash right off the bat, but all it's going to do is put DAVI in there because there's only 4 elements in there. But if I try to use string copy or something else with it, it won't have that backslash 0 in order to double check to make sure where to stop. And that's going to be a problem later. So be careful about the size of your strings. You've been hearing me talk about that /0 and how important it is in C strings, I can actually even test for it, if you can believe it. I can actually look for it. And by the way, that /0, even though it is physically two characters, C will treat it as a single character. Notice the single quotes that's around there? It'll actually treat it as a single character. That's how important and unique this particular character is for C strings. So what I did here was create a couple of for loops, which we may not have gone through yet, but just understand that we're going through each of the elements within an array. Oh, we did do that in arrays, but anyway. So this is going to go through the entire name until we hit a new line character. So when we did our Shay, here was our original name that we're putting in here. It went all the way through, hit that E, and then as soon as we hit that E, it stopped. Now, you'll notice, by the way, if I don't put that mark in there and I go ahead and have the loop go through every one of the characters, you'll notice it actually didn't exactly display that /0, didn't it? Again, it's a special character that in C we look for, that know that it is an ending of a string, but it's not a value that we exactly display. It's nonsensical. So that's why you actually don't even see the /0 show up here. That's how important that character is. That's saying, look, I'm not meant to be displayed. Okay? That's how that /0 works out. So it's really, really important that we use it. Again, all the functions that you and I are going over are going to be looking for that. And it's very important that it is at the end of our C string.